And now it's time for the Insiders with Chuck Chvala and Scott Jensen, sponsored by the Wisconsin Counties Association and Michael Best Strategies.
I'm Chuck Chvala, former Senate Majority Leader.
And I'm Scott Jensen, former Assembly Speaker.
We're the Insiders. So Scott, the Assembly and the Senate, the Republicans are talking about veto-proof majorities. Is that doable in the Assembly? It seems to me that you're going to have a hard time, they're going to have a hard time getting to 66 in the Assembly. What do you think?
Well, the Republicans are definitely going to go up. They're going to pick up seats in the Assembly. And you can see them getting to 64 or 65 seats. That last seat is going to be a stretch for them. But, first of all, redistricting gifts them a seat. The seat I live in Brookfield, was a Democrat-held seat. Now is going to be a 61% Republican seat. So they're going to pick that seat up there. They have to go win the only Republican seat held by a Democrat, which is in La Crosse. Steve Doyle holds that seat right now, but I think they can take it away in this election. That district is trending more and more towards Republicans. They got to defeat one other Dem incumbent, which is in the Jefferson County area, Don Verwink. And then you go up north. They've got 2 seats up there in the Ashland, Bayfield, Superior area where Trump won them, but Republicans have not. If you can replicate what Trump did there, you can pick up both of those seats there, and then you're left with trying to find one more, and it's going to be a stretch. It would either have to be in the Stevens Point area where you have Katrina Shanklin, that's really tough, or in Oshkosh where there's an open seat, and that's also going to be difficult. But they would have to win one of those two to get to that magic 66. So I say Republicans are going to significantly increase the number of seats they have in the Assembly, but it's unlikely they're going to get that last final one.
Well, I think that is where the critical issue is, but I do think Democrats have a couple of opportunities around the Milwaukee area to maybe pick up a seat. Don Verwink really is actually a pickup that the Republicans have to have. Even though he's an incumbent, he's in a different district. So there are a number of reasons why Democrats should be able to hold so that at least there won't be a veto-proof majority over in the Assembly. So we'll see what happens. I think if the abortion issue becomes as big as I think it could by the election, I don't even think that Republicans will pick up seats, but as of right now, with the polling that we see, Scott's not that far off, but I don't think they're going to quite make it.
So the Republicans are going to pick up seats in the state assembly. The question is, do they make it all the way home? Now, what do you think the story is in the state Senate, the House you used to run?
It's a much more challenging situation for Democrats in this area. Janet Bewley is not running, and as Scott pointed out, Donald Trump won that seat pretty handily, and the trend is not in the right direction. I think Kelly Westland is a great candidate up there and should be able to hold the seat if we were just dealing with the same old seat that we've seen for many years that Janet Bewley held for so long. However, I think the difficulty is that it is not the same old seat, and so that is going to be a challenge. If the Democrats lose that seat, that's it. It's a veto-proof majority, unless they are able to pick up the seat in Appleton, or some people could say the 5th down in the suburbs around Milwaukee. But I think actually they have a better chance of picking up the Appleton seat, but the numbers aren't even great on that entire seat, although you do have an Appleton state rep who is a Democrat. The one other seat that is important in the Senate, but I don't think will factor in a major way in whether or not there's a majority, is the Jeff Smith seat in Eau Claire. I think he will hold that seat. His opponent is not good. There's also a marijuana question on the referendum, a referendum question on the ballot for the entire county. I think he will hold that seat. But Democrats have a much greater challenge in the Senate on keeping it veto-proof.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. In fact, I think it's pretty clear the Republicans are going to take more than 2/3 of the seats in the state Senate. They're going to win the seat that Dale Coenga used to have in the Republican suburbs in the Metro Milwaukee area. They're going to hang on to the seat that Roger Roth held in the Appleton area, and they're going to win the seat in northwestern Wisconsin, where Romaine Quinn, who used to represent the area in the Assembly, is now running for the state Senate. So those 3 seats give the Republicans the supermajority in the state Senate. I agree that there's a possibility in the Jeff Smith seat. You think it's unlikely. I think it's actually a pretty close race there, but it's not needed for the Republicans to get to 2/3. So I think the consensus here is that the Republicans probably take one House, but the other one's a stretch, and therefore the Republicans don't get to 2/3 in both houses.
I think that's true, and I think the only other question is, does it change significantly if abortion becomes a big issue when people show up at the ballot box on November 8th?
And I think inflation is going to continue to be the top issue along with crime. So we'll see what the results are.
See you next time.
You've been listening to The Insiders with Chuck Chvala and Scott Jensen, sponsored by the Wisconsin Counties Association and Michael Best Strategies.